go with him herself. But if she did get that implanted in her head by Commodore O, then yeah.
I mean, I don't think we can count out any theory at this point, but I really do think that Commodore O has done some Vulcan mind tricks here and has really... She's got Dr. Jurati working for her.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially with, just how open she's being with, like, that she can't lie, and, like, just the convenience of her showing up like that. Something's off, and however we're going to figure it out. But I think a sleeper agent or a double agent that she doesn't even realize, I think that could definitely check out.
Mm-hmm. I think I like that the best, actually, because she just seems like that she would be just a nice person. And that she really wouldn't want to do that to him. So if she's unknowingly spying on him or gonna mess up his plans or whatever, sabotaged is the word I was looking for, I would think that she would do it unknowingly anyway. So, yeah, I like that. Good job, Rebecca.
Well, thank you.
Right before that scene ends, Laris wakes up the intruder with, like, a spray bottle. And I wrote, like, you're punishing a bad cat for crawling on the curtains, because it's like... psh, psh, psh. So Picard goes up and he's like, let's talk. And then we go to the next scene. Soji introduces herself to Ramda, and Ramda's continuing to place her cards down on the table. We find out here specifically that Soji is an anthropologist. Like, I don't think it was officially said in one of the other episodes exactly what she does. We also find out the cards are called Pixmit, but it's spelled Pixmit on the closed captioning. Soji keeps talking about mythology, and Ramda's like, we don't even have a word for that in Romulan. That's not what we call it. Soji wants to know what she calls it, and she says, the news. And to me, at first, I was like, I don't know, that's a little hokey. Then Soji gets so excited and says that, this is exactly what she was thinking, and that this shared mythology is as relevant to them as the day's news. But I think it's just the word saying the news, like how you'd say the news, meaning like the newspaper, or watching the news on TV, just seems like weird in Star Trek context to me for some reason. And it shouldn't be, but I guess I always just associate that with newspapers. They're almost obsolete now as it is. Ramda looks up at Soji and she goes, I know you. Do either one of you have a problem with the news?
I don't have a problem with the news. That's the I know you phrase is what's really making me think some things.
Oh, would you like to go on about that?
Well, I don't. There's a theory that I read that, like, because of time travel, like, maybe Soji is actually the Borg Queen, and because Ramda was... Yeah, I mean, the internet's full of rumors. But the reason... Remember, it was First Contact, where the Borg Queen tries to assimilate with Data and then can't? Well, the Borg Queen can't assimilate because Data is actually the Borg Queen's father. And so Soji is actually... Because, like, she yells and calls her, like, the Destroyer... What if Soji goes back in time to become the Borg Queen? And, like, she's this perfect... I don't know. There's some things in it that check out. I just found that it was intriguing.
That's, like, some deep stuff there. That's going way into, like, the news of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. It's out there. Yeah. But there's a lot of rumors out there. And it was just such an interesting way that she said it after talking about the news. And just that familiarity with her. How could she be familiar if like Soji was actually part of the Borg Collective as the Borg Queen, and that's how she knows her?
We can skip the next scene for now because she says, I remember you from tomorrow, which kind of does imply some sort of time travel kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Soji is just like, I've never met you. But then, all of a sudden, she knows that Ramda was on the Shaynor, and it was the last chip to be assimilated by that particular cube, and it was full of Romulans. Then Hugh's like, is that true? How did you know that? He's, like, freaking out, because he doesn't know any of this stuff. He's like, what's going on? So she continues, like, her questioning and all this stuff, because, she's got the power of the synth in her. So she knows all of these things. She starts, like, asking all these questions to Ramda, and she's starting to get upset, and she has a tear go down her face. Then Soji stops her from turning over any more cards, asks her what caused the sub-matrix collapse. and she's holding onto her hand. It's like starting to get really tense. And I think that they switched these scenes, they cut up these two scenes here into smaller pieces to compare what was happening in each one. Also, you know, to help build more tension and all that, because what I skipped is Picard is asking this tall Shi'ar guy why they're on Earth and if he's Vosh, and he won't answer any questions. Laris says to Zaman that he's a stubborn northerner like you, which I think is funny. And I wrote, and it's possible that Romulans with the head ridges are from the north, so she knows that he's from the north since he hasn't said anything, so it may not be his accent. And then I said every planet has a north, so if you know Doctor Who, you might get that reference.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too, that like, you know, he's a stubborn northerner, so it's like, every planet does have a north, which is hilarious. But these scenes coming up that we're about to get into, and it's kind of been building to it because it's been going back and forth between the Cube and Chateau Picard. Just as a storytelling technique, I really enjoy the way that the director Hanel Culpepper has used the back and forth storytelling to it's kept me engaged, pardon the pun, in the show 100%. And
you need to go full on with that pun. Just be like,
I know,
yeah,
right?
I made that pun.
That's right. I said engaged, so I'll just make it so. And no, I'll stop. No. But I do enjoy the back and forth that we get into, because it's quick cuts between the two scenes. It definitely ramps up the tension, but it keeps you engaged and interested in what's happening. Whereas if you just let each scene play out, it'd be easy for it to kind of get you bogged down.
I think it just makes stylistically for the two scenes, like they are in a way like interrogation scenes, but from like very different perspectives, and just to showing how these main characters are interrogating someone else. I think it's an interesting way to show that, and just these constant jumps are just reminding you how different these groups of people are that we're following.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar, just probably not as well. But I did want to say that at the end, it sort of culminates. Both scenes end up the same way. They basically complete each other's sentences, kind of thing. Like, it goes from them being completely different in who's being interrogated, who's doing the questioning, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, all that. And then it comes all down to one little thing about Soji is the destroyer. Spoilers. So what happens is, you know, Picard asks the tall Shi'ar why they killed Daj, and he just replies she's not a girl. Then Ramda pulls free of Soji and looks at a card. It's got two figures on it, and she asks Soji which one she is. And then they go to Soji, and she's looking like, I don't know what you're talking about. She has no idea what to say. So then Picard wants to know what's going on, and the operative says she's not what you think she is. I don't know if he doesn't know that Picard knows that she's synthetic, or if it's because she is even more than that, like this destroyer, Borg queen, or whatever she might be. Like, I don't know if it's more than just, oh, you don't, when he says it at this, she's not what you think she is. Then we go back to Ramda, and she's holding the card with the two figures, and she's just like, which sister are you? And of course, Soji's surprised. She has a sister, you know. She's like, oh, well, okay, I don't know. You know, and then Picard, he's like, why did you kill Daj? You know, is there another one? Then Ramda is asking again which sister Soji is, and she wants to know if she's the one that died or if she's the one that lived. And it's a cool thing because she's got the card in her hand, and you see it, a view from under the table, like the little triangle hole where the card goes. And that's like the shot, so you can see like Ramda's face and stuff as she's like asking her this question again. And I thought that was kind of an interesting shot to do, you know. And then she sits it down, and then we see them normal again. So of course Soji doesn't know what to say again, all that kind of thing. Picard wants to know where the other girl is, and the operative says, you won't find her before we do. I mean, that's probably true considering one of them is sleeping with her. I mean, they kind of already found her, right?
Yeah, I find that kind of weird. It's like they're on the hunt for her, but yet Soji's working with them, kind of, and she's not acting. So there's definitely more going on, and I can't figure out why they're like, you'll never find her.
Because it's like, is it that he doesn't know that they've found her? Because I think that would be some shoddy work on their part. Or is it because she doesn't know what she is yet? Then it's basically like they haven't found her. Does that make sense?
It almost makes me wonder if there's more than two.
Well, and I had said that in the first episode that I thought maybe there were multiple pairs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then all this other stuff happened, and I was just like, well, that's all shot to hell now.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. I there's got to be something more at play, and whether, I just don't know yet. But part of me thinks that there might be more than two. There might be, several groups of sisters. I don't know. I liked your theory that you were talking about in the first episode.
And, maybe they all have the same two names.
Yeah, I don't know, but that line rang very confusing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. The Tal Shiar guy calls Picard a Gestin, which I didn't look up, but apparently it's something really bad because Laris punches him so hard it knocks his chair over. Another reason why she should go with him. Anyway. So then Ramda jumps up and grabs a disruptor from one of the guards. She shouts, "I know who you are! You're the Seb-Chneb! You're the Destroyer!" And so then the operative is, on the ground, and he says, "She's the end of all. She's the Destroyer." And Zhaban is holding him down, and then the guy bites down on his acid capsule or whatever and spits some of it out at Zhaban, and he disintegrates, and Zhaban has to rip off his outer layer because it's burning. I think it looked like he was going to punch the guy again before he, bit down on the acid. So I thought that was kind of funny because earlier Laris didn't want him hitting him to wake him up, and she's like, "We're not like them anymore." And then she punched him for calling Picard a name. I did not realize that she was going to be one of my favorite characters in this show. So then we go back, and Ramda's got the disruptor in her hand, and instead of pointing it at Soji, she's turned it on herself. And Soji yells, "No!" And she runs towards her. She knocks over the table. We see the cards, flying off the table and all that. And Soji gets the disruptor away, and then she's restrained, and the guards are, going to take her away or whatever. And he's like, no, she's fine, and insists that they take the guard away because he allowed her to take his weapon, And, he tells everybody to make sure that their sidearms are secured, and, they're going out, and Soji's just standing there, like, trying to catch her breath, and all of these Romulan ex-Borgs are just, like, staring at her. It's like, uh-oh. Any minute, they could all just pounce on her. So then, we're in Soji's bedroom, and she FaceTimes her mom, and she asks about Dodge, and the mom said she's fine, and I think she's wanting to adopt a puppy. So it's like, okay. So, was the Dodge that died her sister, and, I thought that the mom was just, a hologram or something, or is it that there are multiples and they all have the same names?
I think the mom's a hologram, because, she says that line, and then immediately Soji passes out. I feel like that line that she says, was, some sort of, I don't know, computer program thing that just switched her off because things were getting out of hand or something.
Yeah, it's like
like a trigger phrase.
Yeah,
that you would say, and that it would make somebody do a behavior. Yeah, I have a feeling that the mom might be either a computer program or a hologram, and I think she's programmed to keep the sisters from knowing the truth, obviously, because we know Daj is dead, but she tells Soji that Daj is fine and she's going to get a puppy. That's not really what happened at all. They don't want Soji to know the truth.
So I was looking up the mom, and her name is Sumali Montano. She's done a lot of voice acting for Star Wars. you know, like in Resistance and some of the video games and stuff. She's done a lot of like superhero shows and Spider-Man. But the most interesting thing I found out about her is that she